Marvel Studios is set to introduce one of the youngest and newest heroes from Marvel Comics into the Marvel Cinematic Universe soon. And now the man in charge of everything Marvel Studios, aka Kevin Feige, talks a little bit about the similarities between Ms. Marvel, Spider-Man, and the actors playing both characters. Ahead of the release of Ms. Marvel, Marvel Studios has been making the rounds and doing press junkets and hyping up the upcoming series and just how different it is in terms of everything that we've seen so far. In the latest issue of Empire magazine, Kevin Feige talked a little bit about the comparisons that people have been making between Ms. Marvel and Spider-Man, specifically their age, of course them being on the younger side of Marvel Comics, and what this means in the grand scheme of things, and if the actors have any sort of comparisons between their characters and of course who they are in real life. And he would go on and talk about how both of them were Marvel fans before they ever joined the franchise. But he says if you really look at Ms. Marvel, she specifically is a step ahead because she's much younger. She's, of course, been here a lot less time than Tom Holland. Tom Holland is much older than her, so she really grew up watching Marvel Studios and the MCU, and that you get the sense of this when you see her, what she's done, and of course if you look at her interviews and everything. And he reveals that essentially she was Ms. Marvel in real life, to the point where she brought around the notebook, she was taking notes and things like that, and that this all contributes to her being a perfect casting choice, just like Tom Holland was for Spider-Man, that the moment they saw her, they realized this is it. Just like Spider-Man, we got something here that we need to keep on board. And the one thing that I really appreciate that he said is going into how these characters perceive what they're doing in comparison to some of the other heroes. And again, he draws similarities between what Peter and Ms. Marvel would both do in terms of self-sacrifice and what they're willing to do to make sure that good wins and to make sure that both of them have a good conscience. And again, it's, that pure hero at heart, which I think a lot of people appreciate about Spider-Man, and certainly I think it's going to work with Ms. Marvel since it is targeted at a younger demographic. But overall, I'm really excited just by this interview and them talking about how big of a future she's going to have and how important it is that she stays just like the comic version and they don't stray too far from her character.